Okay, so this is a great opportunity. First of all, give me a little short. What are you grateful for today? And I'll start. I'm grateful to have a brand new day. I to see the beauty of the world. I'm so grateful to be alive. One more day. Holly?
I'm grateful that we're getting some moisture outside. And I'm also grateful that, oh, I just slipped my mind. uh, I can't think.
Who's next? Jolene, Amy Sue?
I'm
I'm
unmuted.
grateful,
I'm super amazingly grateful for all the moisture today. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Super grateful that seeing some moisture today. And I was just thinking this morning how absolutely grateful I am that I don't have to like jump out of bed and go running out there in it, but I can still sit right here in this kitchen with amazing ladies like you and still be successful from my computer and my telephone. And life is amazing.
Isn't technology amazing?
In a
Yeah.
lot of ways, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amy Sue?
I'm actually thankful that it's
Uh-oh.
Oh, oh, that's like, you're almost at the big moment and boo, it's gone. Okay, she'll come back. I know it. I know it. Okay, wins and victories, guys. Okay, last week we had Zoe Kors. We talked about real self-care. She talked about sexuality. I wonder if that's Amy Sue. No. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Oh, here we go. All right. I know if I gave it time. Oh, there you go. Okay, got demute there, sister. You're still muted. There we go.
I'm grateful it's cold here in Florida. It was almost 90 degrees the other day, and today it's like 50 something.
Wow.
Oh
So
my
I'm grateful
gosh.
for the cool weather.
Wow. Wow. That's it. I'm getting my bikini. I'm coming over.
I'm flying to Wisconsin Sunday, and they got snow yesterday, so I'm looking forward to seeing the snow.
Cool. Yeah, wow, that's weird. Okay. Guys, wins and victories. Okay. Let's hear your wins and victories from last week. All right. Holly, wins and victories.
Wins and victories. Well, I got all my stuff for Thanksgiving dinner, which is next week. And I also had some intimate time with my husband, which was very, very nice. And Zoe's
Woo!
advice. Yeah. Very nice.
And so what type of intimate experience?
Just holding hands, kissing, making out, snuggling, cuddling, sex was awesome.
I
It
I
was
think
very,
that's
very
really,
nice.
really powerful. Let me ask you this. Have you given yourself permission to feel him, hear him, taste him, hold him, ask him questions,
Mm-hmm.
invite him to ask you questions, and just the emotional, and we're talking emotional plane here as opposed to physical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was asking him about our past when we first met and what attracted him to me and me to him. And it was kind of funny to listen to him. It's like, oh, well, you were just this cute little blonde. It's like, no, 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 no. That's not what I mean. What really attracted you to me? And then he was telling me, no, because you're so smart and you're so funny. And I just, I just knew you were the one. And it's like, oh my God, that's so sweet. So I don't ever hear that from him. So that
Oh,
was good.
okay, now that is
It
a
was
great
really
winning
good.
victory. Yep, that's great. So you asked him some
Yeah.
questions about, and that feeds into today's module, module 3, which is where we begin learning more about each other. Isn't that funny? You know, we can be with our partner for years and really not know them. You know, I've been with Ken over 44 years, and I had no idea who the man was because I was so wrapped up in my business and so wrapped up in myself. Yeah,
Yep.
I hate a man right here. Okay, so that was a really good moment to learn some new things. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Jolene, how about you?
Mhm.
Wins and victories.
Well, my week hasn't been as sweet and loving. It's been with a sick man,
Oh.
um, who is Mr. Tough Guy until he gets a sniffle, but oh, it's been a tough week. So I would say my win was to finally talk him into going to the doctor, and he had bronchitis. So he came home and said, honey, you're right. And my other win would be that I set a huge, again, boundary with my mom about Thanksgiving. I'm having a little female procedure on the day before Thanksgiving at 2 p.m. And I told everybody 2 weeks ago, the day that when I found out when it was, I told everybody Thanksgiving's out. I'm home on the couch. That's where they want me for 2 to 3 days. There will be no thing. I mean, I am not serving, cooking, or hosting Thanksgiving. And
Yeah.
then when I took her to the doctor the other day, we were sitting in the room waiting for the doctor to come in, and she started on me about, well, can't we just go out somewhere? Can't we just do something? And I said, Mom, we're gonna do dinner. We're just not gonna do it till the following Sunday. I'll just put it off for a few days. And there's 3 or 4 of us gonna put it on together. It's not that we're not having it, we're just not having it till Sunday. So I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm sorry, but there are no plans for Thanksgiving Day. I would like for you to get up and watch the parade and enjoy your day and look forward to having all of your family together on Sunday. Do not ask me again. I will not be getting off the couch on Thanksgiving Day.
Okay, so what I heard was that you set a boundary with your mom. You set a boundary at first, and then your mama came in and asked you some questions, and you had an opportunity to set a boundary with her again. There's one word missing in your boundary setting exercise with your mother. What is the word?
What's that?
Please.
No. Oh, please? Oh, I say it to her. I think I probably didn't repeat it quite as eloquently to you guys as I did to her, because I
Yeah.
tried to just be real and raw with you guys. I was nice to her when I said it.
Oh,
I just
that's
said,
good.
yeah, I just was like, Mom, please, I'm having surgery the day before. I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah,
I was nice and more professional than I was with you guys.
that's good. I mean, you know, I think the hardest moment for us, all of us, you know, we all have sticky mothers. Everybody raise your hand who's had issues with their mother. Okay, so knowing how to, I would say that our love relationship sure is hard to navigate, guys. But if you had your love relationship versus your mother relationship, which one would you say was harder? So if you'd say your partner's relationship is harder than your relationship with your mother, raise your hand with a number 1. If you think your mother relationship is harder than your partner relationship, raise your hand with a number 2. Yep. And I have to say that when we talk about intimacy, it's also about our relationships with our mothers, which is as need to know, Mom. I'm the arbiter, what's best for me. And, you know, Mom, thanks for asking. But I I won't. Thank you, Mom. I appreciate you asking, but I won't be able to cook this year. And please let me know what you heard. Tell me what I just said so that we don't have to go through this again because it's really hard for both of us. Okay, so that's always the step that's missing in these dialogues with our parents, with our partners, with each other, is asking each other, hey, can you let me know what you heard? Because especially when you're like 100 years old or 66, right here, we don't always hear. Like, anybody have the experience where your husband says one thing, but you heard something else? Well, I sure have, okay? Because he'll say, or how about let's take the other doorway. You say something and he hears something else, right? And in that rinse and repeat conversation, we're like, what the hell? Right? So this is the moment where we say, hey, I hear what you're saying, and can we talk? Let me repeat this again, because I think that maybe there was a little disconnect there. So that one action is really helpful. Okay, wins and victory is Amy Sue.
Oh my gosh. Well, this week was very hectic. I was able to at least get my plane tickets to go to Wisconsin. My sister's having her breast cancer surgery on Tuesday, so I was able to use my points, and cost me very little. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. I had to buy a new TV. Finally came, and then just sit like with my husband all the time. I don't know what it is, but it seems like he's hearing something other than what I'm actually saying. And so he's trying to call me now. So I would tend to get upset and make it about, make sometimes personal to me, or like it hurt my feelings or whatever. But when he has like an attitude, or he's frustrated with something he's doing and it's not going his way, I was really good about just ignoring it and letting him get it out of his system and let him do his stuff. And I didn't take it personally at all. And it worked out just fine. So
That is a great win and victory. So what you're learning is you're learning more about yourself. Okay, so
yeah.
that kind of feeds into real self-care, where we're actually learning our unique style, your unique style, and what for you is important. And yes, men do speak and communicate very differently from women. That's something that, there's a lot of research in interpersonal communications about this, that they really do hear differently too, guys. And also, their voice inflections are very different from women. Has anyone ever had their husband yell at them and say he loved you? Like he'll yell that? Okay, I have. Ken will yell, I love you. And if I listen to that from the doorway of a female, I'm going to think he's mad at me. But from the doorway of him and his family of origin and the way he's wired, that's just the way he's made. He's not mad at me. He's gonna, or let's shift the crystal here. They'll say something and they'll say it with a voice tone. Anybody ever have that experience where you're like, yeah, right, you said that, but you didn't mean that. I saw your body language. I heard your voice. They don't even know they're doing that, you know? And in the case of like my husband, he literally hears something completely different, like you're outlining, Amy Sue, something completely different. His brain is wired very different. So I think just letting it go is a really good plan, because there's big things and there's small things, right?
Yeah.
So
A couple years ago, I found out because his dad passed away years ago when he was like 21. So I never knew his dad. And I was talking with his mom before she passed, and she said that her husband had always would like swear every swear word in the book if something wasn't going his way. And for me, it's a trigger because of my ex-husband was very violent and swore a lot. So I would always like say, please don't do that, or even bring the dog in it, because the dog doesn't like it either. She like hides and comes to me when he starts swearing about something. And it's like, I didn't realize that's what his father did. So that's where it comes from. And I didn't know where it was coming from, but it was at least made it better for me to understand where it was coming from.
Yeah, and I love what you just shared. What you're saying is understanding where things are coming from helps your relationship even more because it allows you then to step back and to know how to apply whatever action you're going to apply. And we're going to learn how to do that in the next few lessons. We're going to learn how to understand our relationship map and how our partner thinks and where things are coming from, because that helps our communication a lot. Okay, let's get real for a moment. Have you ever asked yourself, what do I really want? What do I really, really want? You know, that's a new feeling. And then felt really stuck or worse, you know, dismissed your desires because they felt impossible. So here's the thing, avoiding what you really want is exactly what keeps your relationship from thriving, because we're expecting our partner to fill that void. And the truth is, we have to feel, in order for us to be healthy, okay, this is healthy, this is being healthy. We have to fill the void ourselves. Okay. Let me tell you an example. Anybody ever walk through an old cemetery? I'm kind of weird. I like going to these old cemeteries and walking through them, looking at the headstones. Anybody ever do that? And you look at the time period, like you'll see whole families. Well, yeah. How many of you have noticed when you walk through a graveyard, the husband dies, and within the year, the wife dies too? Or maybe you've had that experience, right? Or the opposite, the wife dies, and within the year or so, the husband dies. More often than not, we see the wife dying, and then the husband dies shortly after. More often than not, the husband dies and the woman continues to thrive. What do you guys make of that? Feel free to weigh in.
I think men in particular, they depend on us a lot more. We're more independent. So to me, I see a lot more men passing from heartbreak or heartache once their spouse passes, if they pass before them.
I think that's a good observation. I think you're right. Anybody else have any feedback on that? Okay, so here's the next piece. Anyone have girlfriends who have just lost their husband and we watch her really struggle? She really, really struggles because back when they were together, they went to things together. And she always went to this thing with him. She rarely did anything by herself. How many of you have girlfriends that don't go out and eat on their own? They do everything with their partner, everything. Okay. So what happens when your partner dies and you're a woman who's relied on her whole social environment, her whole travel experience, and her whole world really evolves around her relationship with her partner? What happens to her when he dies? Anybody have feedback on that based on your
Ask
personal
Jolene.
experience?
Right.
Yep.
Well, mine's a little not the same, I don't think, just because I was a caregiver all those years for him. I think that adds another layer. Not that I'm saying it was worse or better or whatever. I just think it adds another layer.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, because I was a caregiver and because I was the breadwinner, the decision maker, the household everything person, um, I didn't have an identity beyond him and his illness and our medical debt. I had no identity beyond any of that. So,
Exactly.
except running a real estate office where I at the time had like 36 agents and 17 of them were new within the last couple of years. So that was my other identity. So I just buried myself in 100 hours a week of work and was actually the president of the Realtors Association a year and a half after my husband died. So I like just jumped straight into work. But then things kind of went sideways and I ended up losing my management job with Exit Realty, partly because I went sideways when my husband died. I didn't know who I was, what to do. I was like, I thought I was good, but I was just running around out there going, what the hell?
And that's brilliant feedback. And that's my point, right? Because what happens is that our whole world becomes our partner. So the point of module 3 is that when we don't honor our own desires, we're human doings, instead of honoring our desires, we create a loop of disappointment. And that loop puts the pressure on our partner to fix it, to fix that loop. Perhaps you've had that experience with your man. But the truth is, your happiness is your responsibility. And their happiness is their responsibility too, guys. And that's where it gets really painful. Ellie will laugh there because we cannot fill in the blanks for them either. All right, that's really important. Okay, so here's how this plays out. You want something for yourself, maybe a new hobby or some alone time. But the minute the thought pops up, you shoot it down with a, that's impossible, or I can't do that.
Yeah.
Anyone have that experience, right?
I used
Not
to.
anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay. The result, though, is a frustrating thought loop that leaves you feeling unfulfilled and cranky. So when you're reactive to your partner, guess what? A lot of times it's because you haven't fulfilled your self-care. Okay. You're reactive because you haven't filled whatever you need for yourself. Okay. Okay.
I think when I went through my divorces, it was like a death. So I was very conscious about trying to find my own identity. So I did like the divorce recovery and finding the love of your life. It was, self-care and all that kind of stuff. But because my picker was broken, obviously. So I wanted to make sure I was marrying or getting into a future relationship with the right person, or, the final person, I should say. Because I lost myself in my previous relationships, so.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And then of course, because we lose ourselves in our previous relationship, for you, it was not caretaking somebody else. It was a different doorway. For Jolene, it was taking care of somebody else. But we lose our identity, whether we're divorced or we lose a partner through death. And that can put us into a place of, now I'm afraid, right? Now I'm really afraid that I'm never going to get this thing right, that's going to happen again and again and again.
Yeah.
So that's a negative thought loop too, right? So we get into these negative thought loops. And so that was really a great feedback about getting to know who you are. And through that journey, you were able to pick the partner you have now, And so the key is for us to really know how to break a negative thought loop. And so the first thing is to recognize the negative thought loop, right? We got to recognize it. So when you notice yourself saying, I can't have that, or I'll never be able to do this, stop and catch it in the moment. So those of you, Jolene, I guess the other two haven't had the experience. When you've coached Dream Builder with me, you know that we have these constricted thoughts. And the thought of I can't have is a constricted thought. Okay. And so we have to catch that negative thought loop. And
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Secondly, if you have a negative thought loop, ask an empowering question. Okay. I love this one, guys. This really helps me a lot. What would it feel like if I could have this desire? What would it feel like if I could go to Costa Rica and see my friend Connie? And how can I take a small step today so that can happen? All right. What's one way I can honor myself right now, even in a small way? Okay. How about a negative thought loop of, I can't go to Costa Rica unless I take Ken with me? That's a negative thought loop because that means that I can't do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never be able to go to Costa Rica without Ken. You see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So ask empowering questions and then replace it with a positive self-affirming thought. I am worthy of my desires. I can create the life I want, one step at a time. My happiness is in my hands, and I'm going to take responsibility for it.
Call it stinking thinking.
Yeah, stinking thinking.
Stinking
Right?
thinking.
Anyone familiar with this one? Anyone familiar with damn me, damn you? Sure.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Yeah. So this is
I
damn
thought
me.
you were doing the L.
No, this is damn me, damn you.
Huh.
Okay. So if I say damn you to Ken, what are we really saying? We're saying damn me, right? You never, I mean, look, guys, when you walk through your relationship with a machete, there's going to be carnage in the field inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's some questions for you guys. All right. So fasten your seatbelts because this is your opportunity to help each other. Right. So that's kind of our little lesson for the day. What's one desire you've been avoiding? Now, you guys have looked at the workbook, you've answered the questions in the Facebook group, you've done the action steps, you've created all your things. So what's one desire you've been avoiding? Okay, anybody?
Are you talking sexual or any desire?
Well, let's look at module 3. And module 3 is all
Okay.
about negative thought loops, okay? Closed thinking versus open thinking, okay?
Yeah.
Or stinking thinking. What is one desire you have been avoiding? And desire isn't always in the field of sexuality, okay? Because
I've been, yeah, I've been avoiding redoing my office, redecorating my office. I don't know why, because I've got the stuff, I just haven't been doing it. And
okay,
I don't know why.
okay. Anybody have some suggestions for her?
Take one
When-
baby step.
Yeah. What I do is
Okay.
if I don't really have the time or the energy to do it all, I'll do 15 minutes. Just 15 minutes,
Mhm.
one area of that.
Mhm.
And usually that'll get me started and I'll end up finishing it. But sometimes when I know my schedule is really busy, then I can do several 15-minute, throughout the week.
Or
Okay.
even a half an
Good.
hour. Just time block yourself. Just say, okay, look at my schedule. What am I doing today? Where do I have a half an hour? And if that half an hour is moving 6 boxes from here to there, then so be it. It's 6 boxes you moved that you didn't have moved before.
Okay.
Just do some
Very
time
good.
blocking and stick with it.
Time blocking and stick with it. Okay, now these are
Put it
all
on your
outside.
calendar.
Calendar it. Okay, these are all outside in things. Okay, what's missing in this whole thing? When I say, what is one desire you've been avoiding? And what's missing?
Is
The
it really a
feeling.
desire if she's still avoiding?
Feeling.
Hmm,
Is it the
interesting.
feeling that you're thinking of?
Oh,
It's
there you go.
overwhelming.
Oh,
It's
okay.
overwhelming is what it.
Okay, so that's the next question is how does ignoring it make you feel? So I think this is a good question, overwhelming. And so what might
Mhm.
happen if you did start honoring this desire today?
I'd feel a lot better about myself, I think. I'd feel like I'd actually accomplished something, but like I have to get over the overwhelms first. You know what I mean? Because it, like Jolene said, just move 6 boxes out. I've got more than 6 boxes in that office.
I was just giving you
You know.
just so don't think about it that way. That was the negative side. That was the, oh my God, I have 30.
Right.
But the
Right.
positive is I did 6. So yeah, I'm
I did
6 steps ahead of what I was.
Yeah, I've done
true.
the like kick the clutter several times. I do it throughout the year. It's kind of like spring cleaning too.
Mhm.
You can't do it all at once. So give
Right.
yourself grace and just do a little bit at a time. Because yes, it is overwhelming. When I look at my house, I am overwhelmed by all the different areas
Yep.
that I need to clean, but it's just me. And Laura actually taught me this was asking my husband for help. Like I'm so used to doing everything by myself
Mhm.
that I forget he's there too, and this is his house too, so he can help me. And he loves to help. He loves to help. He just wants me to ask him.
Okay, what is uh um the 5-word thing you say that gets him going that we have learned in module 2?
I
I
love it when you Yep.
Yep.
love it when you,
So
okay,
let
and
me
then
tell, oh,
and it's rinse and repeat, okay? I love it when he does the thing. It doesn't matter if he does the thing you want him to do, okay? He does a piece of that. You go, oh my God, honey, I couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it without you. Okay? But and Amy Sue isn't kidding, okay? Absolutely overwhelmed and frozen. This woman, this one, I don't know where she is on your screen, but this woman is juggling incredible projects, you know, doing part of an incredible team of really brainy people, managing her home, managing her church group. I mean, overwhelm, that's an understatement. So being able to take one small piece and do it, but don't do it because you have to, because that's also what's coming through in this whole conversation. Is that, guys,
No.
if when you think about it and you can't visualize the end result, if you can't visualize the end result and go, oh my God, that is going to be amazing, then don't do it. And that's something I think Amy Sue and I also explored last month in our coaching together. Was we talked about, you know, what does the space look like, right? What does it look like? She's a visualizer. That is her, that's one of her gifts. And so we want to visualize what the end product looks like, and that feeds your desire. Okay. I'm visualizing sitting down with Ken and sitting on the porch and just, you know, saying, what would you love? Where do you see yourself in a couple of years? That's a big question for my husband. But I'm not going to take that big bite yet. I'm going to take a little bite and say, oh, you know, what would it feel like to see our grandchildren at 14, you know? That's kind of a weird analogy, but my point is that if you can visualize it. Okay. All right, guys.
so can I tap in just really quick to something Amy said about asking her man for help?
Yeah.
It's just, I'm just tagging in another thing that I've recently figured out about my 2-year relationship and that exact thing. They love to help, like you said, Lauren. They love to have some kudos for helping. But I found out that sometimes, at least for Sean, he's in fear of helping because in past times I've been in some negative space where I've said, oh, just get out of my way. I'm just trying to finish dinner because you're tired or you're cranky or there's pinching your butt when you're trying. I mean, for Sean, I'm frustrated because he's pinching my butt. And some people are like, God, I wish my husband would pinch my butt in the kitchen. And so I think sometimes they're afraid to step in for fear that they're going to be in the way or they're going to irritate you. And they just try to stay away because they don't want to listen to us bitch. And that's, I'm being real again, but he actually has said it to me.
Yeah.
He's like,
And
I'll
I think,
try. He goes, I would love to help you in the kitchen, but usually I feel like I'm in your way.
Yep.
And so that's a great opportunity to say, oh my God, thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that. You know, I'd like for you to tell me more, right? Okay, that's excellent, Jolene. Thank you for that feedback back. So, okay, guys, so quickly kind of pulling up some of the information for this week, which I think is, first of all, are the handouts helpful for you guys? Are you able to pull them up?
Yes.
You are.
When yes, I have access to Google for some reason. Sometimes I don't. Google Drive.
Okay, yeah. And so thanks for telling me that. The other thing that I think is important for you to know, Holly, is Marvin is supposed to have sent all of you guys the login and the password, okay, to this program. And you all should have access to the program, not just through the Facebook group.
That's okay, because I can get into the program
Okay, that's
through
good. That's really important. And so that's something I learned over the years of coaching. I've coached other groups, not in this arena, but I learned that pretty quick. Okay, so let's look at this very quickly. So this week in module 3, it's really important for us to learn about our negative thought loops because we can't reframe them if we don't look at them. Okay. So it's good to look at the people in your world that you know. What's their name? What's their thought? And what's a negative result? Okay. How many of you are, we're all familiar with this, and you have women in your world. Amy Sue has a woman she's discussed a little bit who's really unhappy in her marriage, but she's in this negative thought loop of believing that, you know, no one can do this like she can. She's got to hang out in this negative marriage. There's all these thoughts that keep her kind of in a stuck negative result pattern. You may know women in your world that have these thoughts about their relationship, and it keeps them in this negative pattern. I used to have a thought about my husband that he was a negative person and he was never going to change, and that no one was going to ever, know how to be healthy. He'll never be healthy. I had all these things that kept me stuck in a negative thought loop. And it stopped me from having the relationship that I wanted. And I played small in that arena for easily over 10, 20 years, guys. And I hid in my business. Okay. So here are my thoughts. So this is a really good thing to look at. What's a negative thought you have that's keeping you stuck? Oh, I can never go to Costa Rica without Ken. I really want to see my coaching client, friend Connie, but I can't go without him. The opposite thought for me is I can go to Costa Rica without Ken. I'm excited to go. It's a new adventure and I get to see Connie. And the outcome is so I can visualize myself going to Costa Rica, which I am in March. I'm going to see Connie. I may invite some of you to join me. And then we have this really wonderful outcome. We're hiking every day, we're eating delicious food, you're in the rainforest, all these things. And there's no guilt because guess what? You're reframing your pleasure and your self-care. Any questions on that? Okay, that's good news. Okay, guys, so take one action, choose one small step you can do to take today to honor one of your desires. It could be anything from taking a walk alone to setting a boundary with your partner, or even allowing yourself a moment to rest. Notice what you're thinking when you're doing those activities. You're not allowed to do your work. You're not allowed to solve a problem. There's a lot of, you will go to relationship hell if you do this. If you're out walking and you're stressed out about your business, or you're all of a sudden worried about some sort of relationship issue, this is not real self-care. Okay, just dragging along that guilt, that has come from our social programming. Okay, now remember, when you honor your desires, everything flows better. Your relationship, your self-esteem, and your happiness. So let's work on breaking those negative thought loops and honor our true selves and create the love that we desire. And so in closing, today we talked about the pool of discovery and how our negative thoughts can keep us stuck in not living the life of our dreams or expecting the best from our relationship. We talked about how real desire and real self-care is enjoying those things that make you feel pleasure, make you feel contentment. That is even a better feeling. Make you feel safe and supported by yourself. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, your partner's job is not to make you feel safe. Okay? His job is not to make you feel safe. His job is not to solve your problems. His job is not to make you happy. When I hear women say he makes me happy, I know they're in trouble. Why is that the case? Anyone?
Because it's putting the pressure on him to make her happy. She's not making herself happy. She's depending on him. And if he fails, then she's going to blame him for that, not making her happy. And that's not his fault.
Yeah, it's not his
She's
fault.
got herself happy. Yeah.
So she'll blame him for not making her happy. Here's the thing, nobody makes you anything. Nobody
Right.
makes you anything. By the way, nobody makes him anything. Here's a reframe. I'm really happy when I'm with my husband. Okay?
Mhm.
Because it's not about what he gives you. Remember, if it's something he gives you, it is false. If it's something that you experience as a result, then it's real. Okay?
And I've heard this a gazillion times, and I think until recently, it hasn't completely, absolutely rung true. Because I think sometimes we still have stuff, and I feel like there's no. So I've spent my whole life looking for that happiness in someone or something else,
Mhm.
and you can't. It's not effective until I'm happy with me, myself, and I, internally, externally, financially, spiritually, however I need to feel. Until I'm there, until I absolutely know that I'm there and I'm worthy and I'm enough, I'm always going to look for somebody else to feel that happiness. And
Okay,
you're
I think,
right,
yeah.
with that comes what Holly was saying, which is the stress of, oh my God, she's expecting me to make her happy. That I can't do that.
Yeah,
And a
how
lot of
many,
times they're like, I'll never make her happy. I don't know what the hell she's thinking. So,
sometimes. And so I guess how many of
yep.
us have had that experience on the opposite end? You know, our husband doesn't do anything unless we drive the bus. Am I alone on this?
Mhm.
Okay. And
No.
so
Mm-mm.
now, right. Okay. So our job is not to be the social worker, to be the social secretary. That's not our job. See, remember when we started the session today, I said this is where it gets painful. Because you might have four wheels on your car, he might have three. That doesn't mean you add that extra wheel. We're going to learn more about that as we move through this process together. Okay. All right. Are there any questions in closing today?
Nope.
There was a question I asked on your live yesterday. I'm trying to think of what it was. It was something about your partner the self-care with your partner. Can't remember exactly. I have to look it up, but I
Okay.
put it under the comments.